What's going on, guys? Giuliano Melli back with the Bionic Podcast. What's going on? Hope you're doing well. I have guest number 2 for episode number 2 here, Maria D'Amato, none other than my mom. Okay, so we got the mystery mugs back every single episode, guys. We're going to do a quick toast to start things off.
Sure.
Cheers. You got to work around the
Cheers.
mic. Work around the mic.
Cheers. Salud.
Salud. All right, guys. So, how's it going, Mom?
Good, thanks. Yourself?
How's it feel to be on the Bionic Podcast?
Great.
Right? Aren't you honored?
I am.
Okay, guys. We got a very fun episode ready for you guys. So I have a couple questions here I have to ask my mom. I just want to start off by talking about her for a little bit because she's gone through a lot of things and she has some wisdom to share. So I want to ask the couple questions about the serious stuff first. Sometimes you got to be a little serious, sometimes, you got to have fun. So we're going to have that balance here on the Bionic Podcast episode 2 with Mary, aka my mom. We're going to start off with a really simple question. Just tell everybody where you're from, where you grew up.
I was born in Montreal.
Okay.
And we moved to Florida when I was 8. We lived there for 5 years. Nano had bought a motel there. Then
Okay.
we moved back to Montreal. And then we moved here in 95.
Okay, so a little bit of time spent in Montreal, a little bit of time spent in Florida. You had a very different upbringing than your average child. So I want to get into that. My mom has suffered from a lot of sickness and illness in her life. It hindered your school a bit during elementary and high school. Took you a bit longer, if I'm not mistaken, to graduate because of time spent in the hospital. So I wanted to ask you, what was the first thing that got you sick?
Well, we were living in Florida, and I was a cheerleader for a girls' basketball team. And we were practicing, and a girl jumped on my back. And then ever since then, I started to feel ill, had fevers, started to go to the doctors. They started to do tests, blood tests, all kinds of different tests. They couldn't figure out what was wrong. So Nano had decided to move back to Montreal.
Okay, so big thing about that story is that they couldn't put their finger on what was exactly wrong.
Yep.
The doctors had no idea. So you guys packed up after living there for 5 years.
Yes.
You moved on back to Montreal, where I want to talk about your battle against good health, like never being able to reach a point in your life where you're like, okay, I feel absolutely amazing, like I feel awesome. Like even growing up as a kid, I could always remember like slight migraines. I suffered from migraines when I was a child as well, because luckily the mother passes a lot of things onto the son genetically. So I experienced what it was like to have those aching migraines and stuff like that. So what I wanted to talk to you about was a specific time in your life. You were having a lot of surgeries. What were your surgeries and the bone marrow thing?
Yes.
What was that all about?
So after we moved to Montreal, same thing, started to go to the doctors, and it was just a lot of blood tests, different kinds of tests, scans, CT scans. And then they had found, bone marrow tests. And then when doing one of the scans, they thought they had seen something like near my stomach. So they wanted to operate. So they did, it's called like an exploratory operation. So basically they cut you open pretty big around your stomach, around your belly button area. And they basically go through all your different organs and see if they
just fucking shuffle around.
Yeah.
Hey, what's that?
Let's go shopping.
Let's go show what's going on in here, kind of thing. Oh,
So
God,
so
okay.
they thought they had seen something. They went in and they didn't find anything. So they closed me up and basically told me we didn't find anything.
Just like a toy, just like rip open the bag.
Yeah.
What's in the battery pack? Whatever. It's all good. Whatever. Close you back up. So one thing that really sticks out to me from all of this was the one hospital that you were out at in Montreal. My mom told me this story only when I was like a bit older of age that I could like actually like understand what it meant and everything. But she ended up telling me that there was a certain hospital that told you something. Tell the audience what the hospital said to you and what you said to the hospital afterwards.
Okay, so after many years, so I got sick. I was 13 years old, so that went on since I was 13. And then I had the second operation the year after that first
Mm-hmm.
one. And it just my fevers continued, not feeling well, the chills and so forth. And then finally, when we moved here, um, I was okay. But then my grandfather, Nonna Felici, had passed away in Montreal. So we went back to Montreal and I got sick. I got sick with 104 fever and I had to go to the hospital in an ambulance. And then I had to ask the doctors there to give me prednisone, which is a um, steroid. So I took prednisone for many years.
So you're
But
on gear.
yeah,
Nice.
it's the only thing that made me feel good.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay.
Give me energy.
Okay.
So then after that, so we came back here, and then they thought uh, a whole bunch of doctors, I think like a group of maybe 20 doctors had sat down and discussed all my test results and everything that they went through, like my scans and all that stuff. And then they said half of the doctors believed and half of the doctors didn't believe that I had low grade lymphoma, and that was at the Princess Margaret Hospital,
Okay.
which is a cancer hospital downtown Toronto.
Okay.
And then they told me some very disturbing news that with low grade lymphoma, the max life you can have is 7 years. And you were 14 months at that time.
So what did the doctors tell you?
That I had the max of 7 years to live. So
So when and going to your answer, you told them
so
drive it pretty
yeah.
much.
So basically, they had put me on they said that I didn't need like chemo uh
Radiation.
or radiation or anything like that. They said that I could just take some chemo pills for 6 weeks. So I did that, and then they wanted to follow up and all that stuff, and I said fine. But when I left that hospital, I told my parents that I would never go back. That the Princess Margaret Hospital would never see me again. There was no way that I was going back. Um,
So they basically told you have 7 years to live. Yeah, you just had a new baby boy on the way. Myself,
you were
and
born.
I was born.
Yeah,
Sorry. And my life ahead of me at a young age, and then all of a sudden they tell you, how old are you here at this point?
like 30, 30,
30.
third. Yeah,
Yeah, because I was gonna say I thought you had me at 29, and
yeah,
I was 14 months.
yeah,
So
yeah,
perfect. So you were 30 years old. Doctors tell you you only have 7 years to live. You have a new little boy. You're like, oh my God, I might die, whatever. So and then you tell them, I'm never coming back here again. Fuck you all, pretty
yeah.
much. I'm
Prove
gone,
you wrong.
prove you wrong kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So, a reason why I wanted to bring this up is because during the whole Meet Team Bionic series, I wanted to talk about a lot about myself. And like I mentioned in the last podcast, I wanted to really give people insight on why I am the way I am. And I think my family is a huge reason for that. And definitely having a mother that's battled through so many things like you and seeing you suffering and in pain and all this kind of stuff, the things that I've experienced in my life, I wanted to touch on, have made me the bodybuilder that I am today. So when a lot of people talk about bodybuilding, they talk about suffering, right? There's a certain level of suffering that you have to go through to in order to eat the same foods every day, have it bland and dry and all that kind of stuff. But for someone like myself that's seen what you've gone through, seen things that all my grandparents have gone through, all four of them actually
Mm-hmm.
have struggled through a lot of things, and physically seeing that, I feel like has made my tolerance for suffering a lot higher than normal, because when I'm eating these meals and things are getting tough and I want to cheat and I want to do this and that, whatever, it's very easy for me to say, like, you know what, like my mom's gone through worse. This isn't really suffering. You know, like this really, my mom told me about the bone marrow extraction when they go in with a needle, like, a couple
Thick
centimeters wide, and
metal.
it's going inside you, and you don't get put under, no anesthetics, nothing
No.
like that, right? So I'm thinking to myself, like, oh my God, like eating chicken breast is not that bad at the end of the day, you know? So, that's why I wanted to talk about, your sickness, and the fact that here you are today at 51 years old.
Mm-hmm.
You've gone through everything like that. You've lived way longer than 7 years. She takes her vitamins. She does. Guys, honest to God, I wouldn't be as health focused if it wasn't for my mother. I've been taking multivitamins since I was a kid, iron, calcium, all these kinds of things when I was younger, vitamin D all the time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't just start, this was never a fad for me. Like, this is my life. Like, this is the way that I grew up. I grew up taking my vitamins and not having a choice, because I would have caught a backhand if I didn't listen to my mother. So, that's the thing, right? She's instilled all these things in me, a tough mindset. Another thing too is you're very tough. Like, when I'm whatever, and you'll just be like, you know what? Don't be a pussy. Like, straight up. My mom is just like,
Just
honestly,
suck
like,
it up.
suck it up. Like, and it's good because she has a very good, like I was talking about, my father has this, but you also have this as well. You have a very good balance of, like, the gentle heart, and like
Mm-hmm.
the strictness, the stubbornness, it has to be done this way for it to be proper, which really really helps me out in life. But then also, like, if I'm having a rough time with something, or if I'm going through something, like, my mom's always there to kind of like console me. Same thing with both my parents. I'm very honest with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you guys, like, pretty much everything. My mom knew all the stuff I was doing in high school, which leads me to my next topic. I wanted to ask you what it was like getting the job that you have today. So my mom is a attendant secretary for Loyola Catholic Secondary, which is a high school here in Mississauga. But I wanted to talk about your career. So not working for a little bit of time when I was a kid, which was really, really nice to have my mom around, picking me up from school, helping me with my homework right after school, all those kinds of things. But then you struggled for a bit. I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to ask you what it was like working for Manpower, which is a company that gives people in the school boards opportunities on the daily basis. So tell us what it was like to, like, some wake up and, like, maybe have to go to a job at like 8 o'clock in the morning when you're up at 6:30 and you only get the call at 7. Like, what's that like?
It's difficult. To be honest, I try to avoid those phone calls. I rather my long-term assignments, which I was quite lucky with, to be able to do some long-term assignments at other schools, to gain the experience that I needed to be where I am today. But working with Manpower was very difficult for me because I did it for 5 years, and as a single mother, getting paid $10 an hour, to be able to support two kids, especially you
In
with
hockey.
your rep hockey and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and all your equipment
All that
and
fun
yeah,
stuff.
and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so financially was very very difficult, but I always felt that I didn't want you guys to pay because I wasn't financially stable,
Mm-hmm.
so I wanted to give you the best life possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I sacrificed as much as I could. So I did that. I worked for Manpower for 5 years. Um,
Tough 5 years.
Tough five
Tough
years.
5 years. But
Then,
that allowed, like, she was talking about, this is an interruption question, I would call it. I'm just gonna stop you there quickly, because part of your long-term contracts was actually to work at the high school that I was going to, guys. So what I wanted to ask you here is, what is it like? What was it like working at the same high school as me and all my friends? And another thing to connect all the dots as well is, she also worked at the old high school I used to go to. So she worked at Joan of Arc for a bit. She worked at Gonzaga. So she even was working in the place where my friends were at that I wasn't even at. But when you were at Gonzaga, what was it like, being able to see my transcripts, talking to all my teachers. Like, what was that like? I come downstairs during a class to get something from the caf, and I walk by the office. I come say hi to you and Helen, which is Michael Muto's mom
Mm-hmm.
that also worked at Gonzaga and works at Gonzaga. What was that like having? And then Kat ended up coming later, but
Mm-hmm.
what was it like having your kid at the same school that you were working at?
I truly enjoyed it. I don't know if you enjoyed it, maybe not as much as I did.
Uh,
Um, but
for certain things.
yeah,
For certain
you know
things.
what? I loved it. Like Gonzaga is a great school to work at.
Mm-hmm.
The staff they're all wonderful people. So like for me was, I tried to still be professional,
Mm-hmm.
even though whenever you came around or whatever. But I mean, Helen knew what it was like because Michael was there too,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and I just really, really like loved being there and seeing your friends.
Having eyes on me, all my friends. So the funny part about all this, guys, is that my mom knew who the good kids in the school were, who the bad kids are, because the kids are either being sent to the office or getting in a fight or whatever. When I got signed out for hockey, she was in attendance. So she worked in the main office and in attendance at Gonzaga. So picture me, right? I'm not even, I think it was before I turned 18 that you worked in attendance. So I would be because when you turn 18, you can legally sign yourself out or like whatever the case is, like
Hmm.
whatever it may be. But I would like be like, Mom, fourth period, I'm watching a movie. There's a stupid supply teacher or whatever. I would just be like, I want to go home. And she would be like, no, you can't. And then like after a couple minutes of me like really just like grinding her gears, she'd be like, okay, fine, go. What's the movie? Is it stupid? Is it a stupid movie? And I'm like, Mom, it's a stupid movie. We're not even getting tested on it. Okay, fine, you can go. And fucking signs me out. And I'm like, my mom is in attendance at the school that I'm working at. Like this is in or going to, sorry. Like that's insane. Like it was every kid's dream to, especially when you were in attendance. But another cool part that Michael will always remember is when we used to take my mom's car and go to the gym. So I'd pull up to the office, ask her for the keys. I had my G2 because I'm an early baby. Thank God I got all those things nice and early in high school. And then we would take her car, go off, whatever, go work out, eat, whatever, then come back right before she's done, give her the keys back, and then like head home like nothing
Hmm.
happened. Like it was a lot of fun.
It was fun. It
See,
was it was fun because your friends would come by and they'd come and say
all
hi.
my
And they were
friends
very
love all my
respectful.
friends love my mom, guys. Like I'm talking even the kids, all my friends that I went to Joan of Arc with, grew up with at my elementary school and stuff. Like they're all like so fond of her. Like my mom used to do things like come to my elementary school, teach my friends how to read. When she wasn't working, she would come and volunteer at my school. She would be there for all like the field trips and all
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. Like so I'm very, very thankful for that because it allowed me to have my mom there for really cool moments in my life, especially like in school. Having that respect on my name completely. Like my parents were part of like the parent council, like at
Hmm.
elementary school and all that kind of stuff. So I was very, very blessed to have you guys involved, have you working literally in the school. That was crazy. What a time. What a time. And it backfires, which I think is possibly related to the next question the last question, but we'll talk about it. We'll see what you have to say. Another piece that I want to do with my family members is ask them their proudest moment of me and their most embarrassing story of me, again giving you guys more of an insight of who I am as a person, allowing you guys to see what created Team Bionic and all that kind of stuff. I'm at the end of the day, I'm still a goofball. 22 years old. I'm turning 23 in like 3 months, less than 3 months.
Hmm.
I am the same exact person as I was when I started high school, when I ended high school, when I started uni, when I ended uni. I've never really changed. She's had to deal with me this whole time. People have said Mary's a saint. That's it's a real thing, right? So, what I wanted to ask you is, what is your most proud moment of me, either as a child, as an adult? You have one, maybe one.
Maybe two.
Maybe. Oh my God. I was like, if I get one out of her, like that'll be amazing. My mom is someone that doesn't always pump my tires. But when I do something like really, really good, or if I practice good morals and values, and she sees that, then she'll give me some compliments and stuff. Doesn't happen often because I don't
Yeah.
do good things often.
That's not true.
But what would you say your proudest moment, or one of proudest moments of me?
Well, probably the first one would be when you were born.
Well, that I didn't do anything.
I know, but it's proud, right? Like I have a son,
Oh,
right? A son being
you're
born.
like, fuck. I wanted a girl. Fuck. Nick, we have to try again. Fuck.
So that's a proud moment,
Okay, my
right?
birth. What about something I actually did though?
So something you actually did was when you graduated Niagara
I knew
College,
it. I fucking knew it, guys. I did. I fucking knew it.
you graduated with honors. So for me, that was like very special because
School first.
it was like
Raise.
you were never very motivated in school. It was always a challenge to do your homework. You always said, "Mom, sit with me, keep me company, keep me company." But anyways, Niagara College, you actually enjoy doing the work. I think it was very different.
Mm.
But then when you got that diploma, with that honors, for me was I wanted you to know what it felt like to do well and to have something
Something to
to
show
show it.
for it.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
exactly.
Can I tell them? Can I tell them the incentive?
Well, I don't know. Like really, like I
No,
don't
no, no,
really.
guys. She's actually straight up like she's hilarious. Honest to God, she came up to me. It was I would say it was around March. It was like right after my birthday. I was like, fuck, man. Like April, like I'll be done. Like school forever, whatever. My mom looks at me. She's like, you better get that honors. I see your transcript. You're at like a 78 average. She's like, you better get the fucking above 80, or else I'm not getting you a grad gift. I'm like, what? She's like, yeah, if you want to see anything for your grad, money, this, that, gift, what? She's like, you better get that on. That sticker better be on your diploma. And I was like, oh my God. And at the end of the day, my last semester of college, the fourth one, I actually did very well. I was getting 80s and 90s. I brought it well above an 80 with my last bunch of courses that I had. So it was also a proud moment for me, man. Like
Yeah.
to have that, to have the honors. And I got it in elementary school, did not get it in high school, obviously. But to get it again in college, it showed like, hey man, like you're actually pretty good at this. It's something you're passionate about. But to have my mom push me, and to be like, I want you to do well, like it's nice to have that, because a lot of other parents are either too strict and the kids end up rebelling. They don't
Hmm.
even want to listen to the parents, or it's like some parents don't give a shit at all. The kid graduates with like a 71 or like a 67 average, like some random shit like that. And then it's just like, oh yeah, you graduated, but like, how well did you do in your program? Were you invested into the courses and stuff like that? So, I think all that. And another thing too is like going back to the financial part of it, right? Like I was very determined to do well because I knew that like you were helping me out with my college. You were like you had saved up for years and years and years for my post-secondary education.
Hmm.
So I'm like, I don't want to let my parents down either. Even though I dropped out of Brock, I dropped out of university. It was not for me. My mom, not at 1 second gave me shit for it, told me I told you, nothing like that. They let me go, they let me experience it, they let me try. I did try really hard actually in my phys ed program at Brock. But it was really hard. Like it was something I struggled with, the style of testing, right? And my mom
Hmm.
understood that. My mom, instead of being like aggressive and telling me I need to stick it out and do 3 more years of that and whatever, when I told them like, fitness and health is something probably that would be better for me, like my mom knew. She's like, you know what? If it's hands on, if it's practical testing, like my son's gonna do better. I'm a physical,
Hmm.
like,
Visual.
yeah, like I'm a physical learner. Like not, I can't do like all that other shit. It's hard. Writing essays was not for me, guys. Let's just say that. So, no, I appreciate you pushing me for that honors, because it really work around the mic. What's in the mystery mug, guys? Who knows?
Who knows?
So that leads to the opposing question. What was your most embarrassing story of me in my time?
Oh God, you know what? To tell you the truth, I don't know.
I think I know which one it is, and I want to tell it because it it connects everything that we've been talking about. The suspension.
Yeah, I thought of that one, but I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that.
Right, guys, listen. The Bionic podcast is an unfiltered Jules Melly. Um, Again, guys, this is why I want to bring on my family and bring on everybody. I want them to say and verbalize the stupid shit that I've done. Like that's funny.
And that's a lot of stupid shit.
Yeah, and that's a lot of stupid shit. I love it. It's dead ass true. The funny part about this story was, my mom obviously knew the entire staff at Gonzaga. The funny thing is that the principal that was at Joan of Arc the 2 years that I was there, Mr. Michael O'Grady, ended up transferring to Gonzaga the same year that I did. So funny enough, he knew who I was. It was the joke was that we both went the same year and whatever. And he was a huge hockey fan. So being on the team at Joan and then being on the team at Gonzaga, he was buddy with me, right? We were good friends, me and the principal.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy, honest to God. So,
Mm-hmm.
my mom's not working at Gonzaga at the time. I'm in grade 12. We're doing the grade 12 prank. So we wanted to throw like this like sick barbecue on the field and like throw around footballs, frisbees, be in like Hawaiian shirts and stuff like that. And it's just barbecue, some hot dogs on a charcoal grill. Like, so Gonzaga has the community center, right? So we knew that the football field was community property. So we were like, oh, confident. So your boy pulls up. I had like a tent. I had the barbecue and a bunch of food and whatever. We're unpacking my dad's truck, and the principals come out. The VP, who was a little bit of a prick at the time. VP comes out, a bunch of teachers, whatever, and they're like, "What are you guys doing? This, fuck," yelling at us, huh? They ask me, what's in the cooler bag, right? And I'm like, "What's in the cooler bag? Who is that?"
It might be a delivery.
Oh my God. I'm like,
Sorry.
okay, sorry, random person just rang our doorbell. Anyways, I was like, well, I don't want anybody to wait outside, but anyway, so they asked me what's in my cooler bag, guys. The idiot that I am, 18 years old, underage. I brought 2 beers to the grade 12 prank. Because I thought to myself, I'm gonna bring a solo cup. I'm gonna bring a beer. I'm gonna crack the beer. I'm gonna put it in the solo cup. Italy was playing in the
Mm-hmm.
World Cup. They had just won a game at like 11 o'clock that morning. I was amped. I'm like, let's send it. Let's fucking send it, or whatever. And they asked me, they go, either open it for us or open it for the cops. They're pulled up out front. And I'm like, all right, open it up. The VP sees the beer. They were Coors Banquets. And I get taken to the principal's office. Well, who's the principal? Mr. O'Grady. He comes in. First thing he says to me, Melly, why did it have to be you? I was like, sir, because everybody's a sir or a miss in high school, right? You guys know what I'm fucking talking about, obviously. Sir, I don't know. Honestly, I have no idea. Anyway, so he sends me off to the VP. The VP is good ass friends with my mom. Like, good. Like, they text, they chat on the phone, and she just looks at me and she's like, what's your mother gonna say? And I'm like, I'm gonna get killed, miss. I'm gonna get killed. My Italian mother's gonna finally have that day where she can just like just wail on me. And I'm like, oh my God. So at 18 years old, they say to you, they ask you, do you want your parents to find out? Sorry, Mr. Melly, we're gonna have to suspend you, and you're gonna have to do your exams at the, I'll call it the degenerate school. So, so I'm like, fuck. I have to steal my mom's car every single morning, drop off my sister at my high school, drive to the degenerate school, take my exams, all 4 of them, and then go pick up my sister and then give my mom the car back like nothing happened. I did that for every single exam, pulled it off clean as a whistle. I'm like, perfect. My mom's never going to know. This is blessed. Until one day I come home. She's sitting on the couch, and I'm like, "What's going on?" She had an envelope in her hand. She was like, "What the fuck is this?" So tell them what was on the letter.
So basically, when you get suspended in high school, a letter is sent home explaining what the suspension is. So I still have it actually in my drawer, my little dresser night table.
Nice. What a memento. Huh?
I'm gonna frame it.
Nah, yeah, friend. Proudest moment of my son.
And I can't remember, but I think it was something like alcohol. So yeah, I was a bit shocked when I saw that. Bit
Flames.
disappointed.
Flames.
Yeah, disappointed that you would do that, especially like the day before, like what was it, like
It was
your
like the
last
second last
day
day.
of school? Like you made it through four
You
years
know what
of
the
no
guys,
issues,
honest to God though, I
and
didn't
the
get it. I
last second to last day, you blew it.
but at the same time, I didn't get in one fight in 4 years of high school.
No,
I didn't disrespect a teacher once. I never once
I
been to
never
the
got a phone
office.
call.
Never got a phone call. I never even got shit for skipping classes or anything like that. Like I had a very clean high
Hmm.
school record. I was very proud of that until the last day of grade 12. You know what the VP told me? She said, "I would expel you, but I don't want your mother to go crazy." So she's like, "We're gonna have to suspend you and just send you to that school to take the exams." And I was like, "Oh, thank God." I'm like, please. And anyway, so I would say not that you were like embarrassed, but like it obviously sucked that you knew the principals and the
Yeah.
staff and in the office. Like I saw Michael's mom there. I saw all the secretaries that know my mom. I'm like, fuck. I was embarrassed. You know what I mean? Like I was like, fuck, and I
Yeah.
got caught for doing something stupid. When an idiot I am, which you know I've done a bunch of stupid things, but I think at the end of the day, I'm just myself.
I think you didn't mean anything bad
I
from it.
didn't.
I
I
think it was
didn't.
just very,
The Italy game got me a little too fired up. I was like,
yeah,
fucking, let's go. Like, like your hockey team wins
very
the.
innocent.
Yeah, very innocently done. I only brought two beers, guys, and I was planning on giving the other one to someone else. It was a super casual. It's not like I brought like a 2.6 of vodka and I was trying to get like obliterated, right? Like it was like a one fucking beer. But you're underage. And the funny thing is how I was
School
saying
property.
so during until 2:15, the fucking field is Gonzaga property.
Yeah.
For anybody that ever needs that information, it's not the community's
Mhm.
property during 8:15 to 2:15. So fucking learn that real fast. They're like, yeah, no, actually we have full control of the field right now. I'm like, fuck me, because I was gonna go in with some legal shit and be like, oh yeah, did you know that you guys don't own the rights to that grass? And they were like, oh, yeah, but we do. And I'm like, sick, that's awesome. So and I don't think that's a crazy embarrassing moment, but at the same time, like I
Yeah,
said,
it was.
yeah, I was
Yeah, it was just
nice,
enough.
nice. So, at the end of the day, I think the more embarrassing stuff is like the little shit that I probably do, like at the grocery store and all these things. I love to bug my mom, guys. Like, she has such a thick skin. You've also taught me that as well. How to have a thick skin, how to not care what other people think. My mom, every time I have to do something that I don't want to do, she tells me to just blame it on her because she really doesn't give a fook what other people think, which I love that. Like my mom, you've never been like one to try and impress others. You do it
No.
because you want to,
Hmm.
look good or do something or whatever. It's not to impress anyone else, but just to be happy with yourself. So, I can't thank you enough for the amount of lessons, life lessons that you've taught me, for being the strong woman that you are, and for guiding me on a very good path of life. Um, like I said, like I wouldn't be the person I am today without you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
She really didn't want to come on, guys, like at all. She was like very nervous or whatever. Mary doesn't like being asked questions and having to answer. She thought that there was a right answer to these questions. She's like, "Oh, I don't know the answer." Well, it's just we're just chatting.
I don't like attention.
She doesn't like
I don't
attention.
like the spotlight.
She doesn't like the spotlight, but I was even saying to her, I said, at the beginning of the podcast, we're probably gonna get like 10 to 15 fucking views per video. I don't think it's gonna go absolutely nuts. This is not the Joe Rogan experience, but it will be one day, guys. The reason why I'm starting the Bionic podcast is because I want to share people's stories. I want to give people an avenue to express who they are, to share the things that they've been through, the struggles that they've been through, and what it's helped with. And for my mom, having the impact that you've had on me has allowed me to achieve anything that I want in life. Like I was telling dad the same
Work
thing.
hard.
Yeah, if you work hard, if you're focused, if you prioritize, if you stay organized,
Mm-hmm.
all these life lessons that my mom has taught me. Again, same thing I said with my father on the podcast is the older I get, the more sense that all these things make to me, and as I'm getting ready to, move out hopefully soon. Mary's like open as soon as possible, right? So during all these life changes that I'm going through as someone in their early to mid 20s, I'm starting to see like, oh, okay, this is why my mom says this. This is why my mom tells me to do things this way or that way or whatever. Very, um, very strict Italian lady, but you're very modernized, and I said that about dad. I said that about you, and about also Nana. So my
Mm-hmm.
grandmother is very modernized. She's not old school, and it's allowed me to progress. I see the way that you are. You adapt to the times, and everything during COVID, all these types of things, having to work from home, going back to work, and all that kind of shit. So again, I only want to thank you. I come on here to praise my parents, guys. The reason why I came on the podcast with my mom and my dad as episode 1 and 2, is because I wanted to praise them. I don't think I would have anything that I have today. Team Bionic wouldn't be a thing. The Bionic podcast, the gym, which again we can only thank my mom for because she gave up her garage.
Mm-hmm.
She wanted to park her car in there in the winter.
So I had to take the snow off my car. Now I got to get up 10, 15 minutes earlier and clean my car before I leave to go to work.
But we have a gains factory in the garage,
But we have
the Bionic
Bionic
gym,
Gym.
only because of Maria D'Amato. That's all thanks to my mom. Like I said, so willing to sacrifice for her kids, so strong. She's battled through so much. And again, thank you so much for everything. And again, for coming on the podcast. The last thing is one more cheers. Let's do a
Cheers.
nice last gulp. What's in the mystery mug, guys? Let me show you right now. Oh, where is it?
It's on the table.
Oh. Just a little bit of white wine. Another thing too is you never drink.
I don't drink.
I wanted to explain the balance that I have from that perspective for my parents. My dad, as you could probably tell from our episode, we like to send it. I'm a little bit of a sender. If you partied with me in the past, you know that I can definitely give it. I like to play hard and party harder. So, with my business and all that kind of stuff, being serious comes first, but I also like to have a little bit of fun. But my mom, on the other hand, doesn't drink a drop, not a bit of red wine with dinner, not a bit of white wine with dinner. So for her to actually have a couple sips of white wine with me, I actually am honored that you would have a drink on my pot. She's like, it's like 7:30 at night, and she's like, I'm like, let's just do an espresso. She's like, I gotta sleep tonight, and I'm like, what'll put you to bed real nice? A little bit of wine, that'll
Mm-hmm.
that'll definitely knock you out right after the podcast. So thanks for actually having a drink with me
Yeah,
because
my
yeah,
pleasure.
you really don't often. Like it's
No.
awesome. But it's a good balance for me because my mom has explained to me like you don't always need to drink to have a good time. And I've
Mm-hmm.
had that during my bodybuilding and stuff like that. I'm okay with not drinking and kind of missing out on those social events because of you putting it into perspective that you don't always have to be drinking on the weekends and stuff like that. It's not necessary.
It's
Um,
not good for you.
it's not good for you
Health wise, your liver,
health wise.
right?
So I really appreciate you coming on here and having a nice glass of wine with me. A glass of wine a day doesn't hurt anybody. The
Mm-hmm.
Italian heritage, we like our
Mm-hmm.
red wine. We like our homemade wine that our
Homemade.
our
It's
grandparents
different.
make for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit different, obviously, but thank you so much for your time. Sorry, the mic's getting in the way a bit.
Thank you.
This is a wrap for episode number 2, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you're still here, I'm going to say it again. I love you. I can't thank you guys enough. Anybody that's watching the podcast, supporting, commenting what's in the mystery mug during the video. Again, I still have to figure out something to do to give you guys a prize or something if you get it right. But again, guys, thank you so much for watching the Bionic podcast. Until next episode, I'm Juliano Melli.
Maria D'Amato.
My mother, the best. I love you so much.
I love you too, sweetie.
Thanks for coming on.
You're welcome.
Talk to you guys next time. Peace.
Take